All right, really simple. This is your nutrition plan. And what you're going to do through here is you're going to put in your age to begin with. So let's say, for argument's sake, your age is 25, your current weight is 65, your height is 155 centimeters, and obviously at this point in your life, you guys will all know your own sex. So we're going to select female, and we're going to select your activity level. Activity level is the only thing that you might have to think about a little bit. So if you click this tab over here that says activity level, all of you are going to be in category 1.2 through to 1.8 at tops. The vast majority of you are going to be in 1.4 to 1.6. So let's just have a look what 1.2 is, and that's over here, and it means very light activity. If you select this one, this means you work at a desk all day, you're very sedentary, you're sitting down, and you're not doing a lot of anything outside of your 3 training sessions per week. Now, if you plan to do the at-home workouts as well as the 3 times sessions per week, then you can select a 1.4. Now, all of you should be doing this. Ideally, your at-home workouts as well. So a lot of you might be 1.2 to 1.4, but mostly at 1.4. And 1.4 is you might have a non-physical job, i.e. at a desk computer again, but performing some sort of physical activity during the day. This would include all your workouts that you're doing. So 1.4 will be the vast majority of you. Outside of that, if you have a non-physical job, but you are doing additional training, you might be playing a sport on the side and a somewhat active job like standing a lot of the day, then that way you will select a 1.6. So you might not be lifting heavy things all day, but you're on your feet. You're not actually sitting down. So you're moving around. And you're doing the 3 workouts with us and the at-home workouts, then you're going to select a 1.6. If you're doing far more than that, you have a very physical job where you're lifting, you're moving a lot of things, boxes, laboring, anything along those lines, plus you're doing all the workouts we've assigned, then it will be a 1.8. Cool, so we're just going to go back here, and for argument's sake, we're going to say this person is light activity, which is a 1.4 for us. So what you'll notice here is our total calories are being calculated, and what is here is a list of all your proteins, all your fats, all your carbohydrates, and all your veggies. And this will tie into your meal plan. So over here, where it says this is an example only, is an example of how this works. But we're going to run through this example that we've just done here by putting in these numbers. All right, so protein. Protein serve is 0.9, so it's basically a full serve of protein, or just shy of one, which means you can have just shy of 170 grams chicken breast, 170 grams kangaroo, venison, etc., etc. Any of these protein sources equates to 1 full size of protein. In terms of fat, you can have 0.6, so just over half. So that means you would have 1 tablespoon of peanut butter, a little bit more, 1 tablespoon of almond butter, etc., etc. It's a little bit over half a serve. Why? Because 1 full serve here is 2 tablespoons. So in this meal over here so far, you've got 1 full serve of protein, almost, and a half serve of fats, or just over. And then finally, you've got 0.7 of carbohydrates. So 0.7 of carbohydrates is basically 70% of 1.5 cups of sweet potato, or 70% of 700 grams of beans, legumes, etc. So if you really want to work that out, what you can do is you can go calculator, and if you want to be very precise, let's say you got 0.9 or 0.7, whatever it is, if it's 1 full serve, let's say 170 grams of protein times 0.9, now you know you're going to have exactly 153 grams if you want to weigh it. If you're just guesstimating, which we don't advise, then you're just going to go a little bit shy of a serve, or you can work it out by using your calculator here. If it was, say, 1 full cup of beans, once again, you times it by, I think it was 0.7 in this example, and obviously that's going to be, once it's actually 100, I should say. So we'll go 100 times 0.7, and there's going to be your 70 grams of beans, cooked rice, etc., etc. Cool. You also get 1 full serve of veggies. Now, what we suggest is you try to avoid these ones. You don't have to. Zucchini, peas, carrots, corn. They've just got a lot of sugar in them, and they're a bit moreish, which means people tend to overeat them. It's not about the calories. It's just that when people get stuck into pumpkin, beets, they tend to or potato. They tend to really get into that stuff. Versus, say, leafy greens. All leafy greens are good to go, whereas everything above here, beets to zucchini, you might want to watch them a little bit just because they got a higher sugar content and they tend to be a little bit moreish. Cool, so at this point, hopefully that makes sense. In this meal, you have 1 full serve of veggies, just under a serve of protein, 0.7 of carbohydrates, and 0.6 of fats. And that's how your meals are going to look through the day, selecting from these sources here, and this should correlate with your recipes. When you go to your recipes, instead of following the prescriptions that they say, i.e. 3 eggs, 10 eggs, you're just going to add your protein serve, your carbohydrate serve, your fats, and your veggies that are recommended within these meal plans. So I hope that makes sense on how to use your meal plan to actually plan out your meals for the next 6 weeks or so. Cool, enjoy.